and I Idaho State here. Might be a partner, a colleague, and friends from across the Boise State community. Whether you're here in the room or online, we have some folks joining us from the virtual world. So our gathering today is more than a showcase of research. It's a celebration of people, relationships, and the shared desire to make our campus a place where more people have more good days. The ASSERT stands for Aligning Stakeholders and Structures to Enable Research Transformation. And it isn't just a program. It's an ongoing process that sits at the intersection. I had a visual, sorry. So ASSERT, often people ask what ASSERT is, and it really has like three strands that are related. So one strand has to do with personal faculty journeys. That's the bottom arrow. Another strand is our institutional culture. And then the circle, the context that we're working in are our community contexts. And that's where we find opportunities and needs that we're trying to address through our scholarly work. So we come together around an overarching and collective question. How can we create conditions where people can connect and contribute in significant and meaningful ways? As stewards of the ASSERT program, the Institute for Inclusive and Transformative Scholarship, or IFITS, we try to answer that question by centering on scholarly activities and research, because these are among the best ways for individuals and for our institution to become and to be intellectual leaders, which we believe have four features. Intellectual leaders share knowledge, they expand opportunities, they mentor others, and they steward resources like time, people, relationships, programs, dollars, and much more. So this is now the 9th ASSERT cohort, and we gather today not just because it's a tradition. Instead, we're here to stretch what's possible, to share big and bold and provocative ideas, to deepen relationships, and to imagine together a more connected university. All of you in the audience work each day to make this campus and our community a better one. And each presenter today is here not just to inform you about what they're doing, but they're really here to invite you to spark collaborations, to encourage your curiosity, to see if there are ways for us and you to connect, to coordinate, and to invent together, or perhaps to plant some seeds for some campus-wide impact. This gathering is for everyone in the room, so as you listen, please ask yourself and ask each other, what needs or opportunities do you see? How could you partner, mentor, or champion one of these ideas? Your questions and connections make you more than an audience. They make you co-creators in our living campus culture. And at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce Lisa Phillips, Vice Provost for Community Engagement and Belonging, and following her will be Interim Provost Zainab Hansen. So please give Dr. Phillips a round of applause.
Good morning. Thank you, Jim. I am excited to be here today at one of my favorite events. The ASSERT program reflects many of the defining characteristics of Boise State experience: curiosity, support, innovation, and celebration, all essential components of a thriving scholarly community and the very elements that make being part of the Boise State community so special. Each day we are reminded of the importance of being curious, even while navigating the risks that curiosity can bring. To be curious is to ask questions that challenge the way we see and understand the world, each other, and ourselves. Sometimes the answers give us pause, as they reveal realities we had not yet seen. But it is precisely in this moment that curiosity opens the door to innovation, new ideas, new approaches, and new technologies that improve the way we learn, teach, and work together. At Boise State, innovation means finding creative solutions, pushing boundaries, and always seeking better ways to support our students and our community. The ASSERT program is a celebration of this spirit of community. And so our focus this morning is on the work of the ASSERT Fellows, but we also must remember that we are all part of the Boise State scholarly community, and being here reaffirms our own commitments to embrace curiosity, to create and maintain supportive environments, to be innovative in the way we approach our work, to celebrate what it means to be part of this community. Curiosity flourishes in supportive and nurturing environments, but it all begins with community, one in which curiosity and innovation can truly thrive. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Zeynep Hansen, Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I also would like to welcome you all today and thank you for being here. I want to especially thank ASSERT faculty, this cohort, the 9th cohort, Jim, you said. I remember being here many years ago for maybe not the ASSERT pitch, but some ASSERT event. Where's Donna? There was something, right? The first cohort. I remember joining that one. So this is amazing to see this cohort for their hard work prepared for today's lightning talks. I am looking forward to hearing from you today all. This is, as Jim and Lisa mentioned, is a celebration of innovation and scholarly leadership. It's a faculty development initiative to grow research leadership capacity at Boise State, and I recently learned at all of Idaho's universities starting this year, which is amazing. What makes ASSERT unique is that it works at 2 levels, and I was just thinking of Jim's picture, which I haven't seen until just right now, is that the 2 levels, of course, individual faculty, supporting individual faculty in articulating values, taking risks, shaping their scholarly identity. And the second level is the supporting the institutional environment, the institutional culture by addressing the structural barriers, pain points to contribute to transformative research. And in that community, the context that both Jim and Lisa mentioned, that ASSERT finds itself in a unique place. Transformative research requires an environment. Transformative research requires an environment that invites innovation, and ASSERT fills that critical gap or that big circle between technical training like the grant writing workshops and other technical needs, and the deeper personal, cultural, and institutional growth that sustains transformative scholarship. The program helps faculty develop ideas that not only advance disciplines, but speak to broader societal challenges and opportunities. ASSERT again began at Boise State, and I just wanted to say that I want to know more about that, how it spread to other University of Idaho and Idaho State University, and that I am looking forward to how each institution will contribute their unique strengths, helping cultivate statewide network of scholars who can think big and work together. Through meetings, retreats, collaboration, and shared leadership, ASSERT is building capacity far beyond individual campuses, and that's really something to celebrate for. Creating space for new ideas is vitally important for our university missions and goals. And I was thinking this morning that ASSERT actually hits all 5 goals, not at the same level, but obviously it's about research, it's about thriving community, it's about innovation, and you all work with students. Everything you do is about student success, and you do have community partnerships, so it's about partnerships and collaboration. I don't think there's any event that we have or an initiative that actually we can say it hits all 5 of our strategic priorities and goals at the level that ASSERT does. So this is an amazing event and a professional development that originated at Boise State that I just hope that it will thrive and continue in all of Idaho's universities. I am looking forward to learning new ideas from you today, and I hope that you will join me to listening to our speakers and our faculty. Thank you again for being here today and supporting ASSERT.
So I'd like to share just a couple of logistics and thanks before we get going with the fellows and their presentations. So a few details. So each presenter that you're going to hear today will have 3 minutes and 1 slide. And we're going to move through the order in alphabetical order. After all the pitches, we're going to open for a question and conversation as a group. And if you are joining us online, please use the Zoom chat to add your voice, your questions. And then we're going to have some time here at the end, and we want to invite everyone to stay after for informal conversation and connection, because often the best collaborations are sparked in those sort of casual moments in this kind of space. Finally, I want to offer quite a few thanks here. So I want to thank the group of faculty fellows for your vision and your courage. And I want to thank the very many campus partners who are in the room and who might not even be in the room, including the Office of the Provost, the Division of Research and Economic Development, all the deans and chairs across all the colleges support this. We also want to thank the Idaho EPSCoR office for helping us launch this ASSERT program at University of Idaho and Idaho State this year, because it's going to broaden our network and deepen our impact across the state. We also want to extend some thanks to Will Hughes, who helped launch ASSERT, and we especially want to thank Donna Llewellyn, who launched and has led ASSERT until she retired recently. So please give Donna a round of applause. So most of all, we also want to thank all of you. It's early in the morning, and you are all very busy people. So thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing your energy and your openness. Today, let's try and discover new ways to connect, to contribute, to lead, to support, to amplify each other's work, and to make a difference here at Boise State and beyond. So let's get started in making this a true moment of connection and possibility. Let's get started. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I am Jessica Ayers. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Psychological Science, and I'm going to be talking to you about what is a friend. You know them when you see them, and for many of us, they are completely irreplaceable. They are something that young children seem to make flawlessly, but they become harder to make and maintain as other life priorities take center stage. But at the end of the day, what actually is a friend, and how do we make friendships? Research shows that high-quality friendships are crucial to long-term health and well-being, often leading to improved survivorship after stressful life events such as surgery or cancer treatment. This research suggests then that we all need high-quality friendships. But what does that actually mean? What separates them as a high-quality friend? And what even makes them a friend as opposed to some other kind of beneficial social relationship? While this question probably seems extremely straightforward, there is actually no universally accepted definition of what a friend is. And that's a problem, because that means we can't actually understand what we get out of these relationships, because we're not talking about the same thing. And while this maybe might not seem like the most significant issue that we could be tackling, the fact that there is no unity in how we approach these relationships means that there's no unity in what we are actually learning from them. My research seeks to understand the qualities that make someone a good friend, and ultimately how we get the most out of these relationships. I'm interested in fundamental questions here, such as why we form friendships, how we recognize someone as actually being a good friend, and how we can cultivate these relationships so we have the most satisfying relationship possible. Being on a college campus, we constantly see individuals who are in a time of flux and growth. Perceptions, social circles, responsibilities are constantly changing while we're here. Not surprisingly, students often grapple with loneliness as they make these transitions. And it's this loneliness that is one of the factors that causes students to stop their education, ultimately impacting their lives and their future opportunities. Based on my research, I know that friendship is the answer to loneliness. And if we can begin to understand what friends are and how to cultivate them, we can actually improve student retention here. But loneliness on a college campus is not something that just affects students. Faculty and other university staff also grapple with loneliness in their jobs. Friendships and other positive social relationships should be the goals in and of themselves. Cultivating and maintaining these relationships is a soft skill. but it's something that enables success both in the university and in the workplace more broadly. But friendships are also a powerful tool for retaining students, staff, and faculty. If we are serious about retention within a college setting, we must also be serious about understanding the relationships that help get us to that retention. While these relationships take time, they take effort, and they take mental resources to actually go about cultivating, the end result is a more welcoming college community. It is not enough to focus on an outcome like belongingness or community building without first understanding the process that gets us there. We cannot make people feel like they belong and are part of our Boise State community without first enabling and fostering the relationships that build this sense of community. We need to understand what friendships are before we can try to start leveraging these relationships for positive outcomes like retention and belongingness. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, guys. I'm Heidi, and I'm the Education Director at the Intermountain Bird Observatory here on campus. Before I start, I want to say I'm a huge fan of combining the arts and sciences to do awesome things. So I commissioned one of my undergraduate researchers, Iris, to create my slide today. Thanks to them for their work on this. The calliope hummingbird, weighing the same as a dime, is the smallest migrating bird on the planet. They spend their winters in southern Mexico and journey north more than 2,000 miles each spring to their nesting grounds. They complete this journey north, then south, once each year over what can be a 10-year lifespan. And where are they headed? For many, it's the foothills right here outside of Boise. These tiny hummingbirds are using day length to tell them when spring is on its way here in Idaho. But there's a problem. The flowers that they eat use springtime temperatures to schedule their blooms, not day length. In our warming climate, flowers are now blooming earlier and earlier, while hummingbirds continue to arrive as scheduled following the sun. Research in Colorado has found that hummingbird nesting season and peak bloom are now out of sync. How will this mismatch affect these tiny birds? I'm working to understand this at the Intermountain Bird Observatory's Hummingbird Monitoring Station at Bogus Basin ski area. Now, Bogus over the last few years has started using artificial snowmaking machines like the one Iris illustrated here to increase snowpack for skiers each winter. Research in similar ski areas has found that artificial snowmaking like this can shift bloom timing of flowers. So do we have a solution here? What if snowmaking at Bogus Basin could shift bloom timing and resynchronize it with hummingbird nesting season? I want to find out, and I want to use the power of our campus and our broader community to bring the puzzle pieces together that we need to answer this question. On campus, we already have snow scientists who are collecting data at Bogus Basin each winter. We have botanists and environmental studies scientists, as well as students who could explain the broader ecology. At the Intermountain Bird Observatory, we're working with Bogus Basin's sustainability and stewardship team, as well as volunteer Idaho master naturalists, who would be the perfect team to help us understand bloom timing on the mountain. Bogus Basin also hosts snow school each winter, where they bring 5th grade students up to the mountain to collect data on snowpack that we could use for this study. And finally, the Intermountain Bird Observatory, with our volunteers and community, have our hummingbird monitoring program already in place. If we could put all of these puzzle pieces together, we could answer a compelling research question, bring our community together around a shared goal, and help these tiny hummingbirds thrive. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Conley, and this is my positive potato. I'm a faculty member in the College of Education, and I want us to think about potatoes, a crop so flexible and resilient, you can find it served on most menus in many forms. That's how I think about our community and the services we offer at Boise State University. I've seen firsthand the incredible, innovative work Broncos are doing every day. I've also seen how we get bogged down with the pressure to serve everyone well. For example, it's taken me 2 years to figure out when to submit a care report. Similarly, students who know the right person can access a wide range of resources that another student doesn't know exist. It's easy to become siloed and forget that we are one community and all students are our students. So my pitch today is about leveling up our amazing community by harvesting from an existing educational framework. Many P-12 schools across the nation are adopting the multi-tiered Systems of Support, or MTSS framework, with emerging efforts to expand into higher education. MTSS is rooted in data-driven decisions about shared values, goals, systems, and practices, and it's paired with a tiered approach to match those supports to community members, students, and staff. At the heart of MTSS is an all means all perspective. Think of Tier 1 as a simple baked potato with salt, butter, bacon, shredded cheese. We have the registrar's office, the help desk, the library. We have student networks like Crew and Aspire. Support's universally available to all and effective for most. At Tier 2, we can keep chili and nacho cheese nearby for a loaded baked potato. Effective and simple, low-cost additions that we can add to targeted small groups who need a little bit of a boost. Consider our tutoring, coaching, consultation, and counseling services. Fairly easy to access for short periods of time as needed. At Tier 3, imagine made-to-order potato chowder or twice-baked potatoes. Effective and highly standardized Tier 1 and Tier 2 supports menus give 95% of our community members what they need. That frees up our resources and our energy for the 3 to 5% of our community members who have more significant needs or less common circumstances. And these might be temporary or short-term. We have TRIO, EAC, and peers to create plans that help staff and faculty to better support our at-risk learners. We have Broncos in this room addressing problems of campus bird injuries, supporting multilingual learners, improving friendships and critical technologies, even preserving almost forgotten histories. Units and individuals tailor their support menus appropriately while maintaining alignment with the community shared core values and core menu. By adopting the shared framework, we can reduce our collective cognitive load and create more predictable and unified communities where all means all. So where do we begin? We can introduce MTSS in a few ways. 1, we can select a pilot initiative or department to try it out. 2, we can prompt our multidisciplinary teams to build a shared vision of tiered supports. Or 3, we can create a community, a task force across the university to explore MTSS. Let's come together as Boise State staff, faculty, leaders, and students to build a more unified menu of supports. Please visit the QR code for more information. Thank you.
Katie, you made me so hungry now. After my speech. Okay, there, I have to focus on my potato. Okay, thank you. So I hope you can move away from the potato and then close your eyes and imagine Boise State at the center of the new national priorities and what we call the quantum and the semiconductor workforce and innovation nexus, or QSWIP. So you may ask me why I want to propose it, because I'm a professor of the material science and engineering, and my name is Lovely. So why Boise State? Boise State is at a unique crossroad, and across the nation, billions of federal dollars are being directed toward semiconductor and the quantum technologies. At the same time, and we have a strong partnership with industry, national labs, local governments, and international collaborators. Yet, even with this momentum, the US is still facing a critical challenge. We do not have enough engineers and scientists to meet this growing demand in these industries. So what can we do? And how can we do it? My vision is to establish the quantum and the semiconductor workforce and innovation nexus, which is called QSwing. The place that will place like Boise State at the center and of this national priorities. QSwing will bring together disciplines across campus, such as material science and engineering, where I'm from, and electrical and computer engineering, chemistry, computer science, and beyond, and integrate AI-driven and discovery to accelerate innovation. It will strengthen the workforce pipeline by expanding interdisciplinary curriculums. So why Boise State and why now? And we already have the foundations and existing programs like the Semiconductor for All and established by Suming, I saw him around before, and also now led by Cohen, and upwards and led by the Curtis Kelly and me, and the Microelectronic Education and Research Center directed by Curtis Kelly, and our newly funded NSF CREST Center, and James and Leslie and Catholic and me and all involved, and give us a momentum. And we have also secured millions of dollars in federal funding for quantum research. So by connecting these assets and under one strategic and nexus, and we can amplify and students enrollment, expand our research impact, and drive Idaho the competitiveness in the global innovation economics. So the first step is to convince a campus-wide and forums with the faculty and partner to define the scope and resources and launch a plan for QSwim in collaboration with the Center for Research and Creativity, activity and the Division of the Research and Economic Development, which is a DRED. And from there, and we can align initiatives and under a single vision and implement quick wins such as pilot workforce training programs and the cross-campus seminars, and to show the immediate result and the build momentum for long-term success. So the last, now is the time for Boise State to step forward as the lead in shaping the future of the semiconductor and quantum technology and the workforce and which empower those fields. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Erin Pierce. I'm Assistant Professor in Graphic Design in the Art, Design, and Visual Studies Department. Boise State University has long advocated for the student. They are central to our mission, and we strive to make a meaningful impact on those we educate and serve. And we understand that even the smallest gestures matter. From a simple hello to after-school conversation to even asking someone if they're okay, these moments can make all the difference. Faculty and staff across campus show up for students in these small but meaningful ways every day through programs like Peers, CARE, Reports, TRIO, First Forward, and through tailored resources for multilingual learners. Whether it's resume feedback or simply making space for a student's voice to be heard, we know these small acts add up. But this belief that the small things matter shouldn't stop with our students. It can and should extend to our communities, our shared spaces, and our ecosystems. A single action can ripple outward, shaping how people live, connect, and care for the places we call home. This past year, I saw that ripple effect in action. In partnership with Intermountain Bird Observatory and a class of 17 students, we identified buildings on campus where a reflective glass was silently claiming the lives of migratory birds. What started as a design challenge quickly became something more, an opportunity for students to recognize their power to make meaningful change. They observed bird strike hotspots and recorded patterns of bird activity at different times of day. They interviewed students, faculty, and facilities teams. They dove into research on avian vision and applied it to the built environment, translating science into visual solutions designed to interrupt deadly reflections. They weren't just learning about design, they were learning how to observe closely, think critically, and respond with care and intention. Despite strong faculty support, funding, and community interest, the final installation did not move forward. Some windows were flagged for warranty issues, others raised concerns about views. The system in this case didn't say yes. And that was hard, but it was also real. Community engaged work like this doesn't just always wrap up in a nice tight bow. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it stalls, but it always teaches us. It teaches persistence, it teaches care, and it teaches students how to keep showing up even when the outcome is uncertain. So I'll leave you with this. What are the small things that you noticed today? A moment, a detail, an idea, maybe something you passed but didn't act on. And maybe now you would choose to engage, to look again, to make a small move. Because if we can't take action on something as visible and solvable as a bird collision crisis right here on our campus, how can we expect to face deeper environmental and social challenges that lie ahead? So does one bird matter? Yes, I believe it does.
Morning, everybody. Thank you truly for being here. I really appreciate it. My name is Bob. I teach in the departments of history and the School of the Environment, and I'm the director of the Atlas of Drowned Towns. I took this picture in 2021. It shows a foundation from the old town of American Falls. It was during a low reservoir year, and the town of American Falls had moved away about 100 years ago to make way for the reservoir for American Falls Dam. Hundreds of people have been displaced by projects like this. Some of them moved to the new town, many did not. There are dozens of drowned towns, as I call them, throughout the American West. There are hundreds in North America and thousands throughout the rest of the world. The spectrum of these experiences is wide, from about the 300 people that were moved to make way for Detroit Dam on the western side of the Cascade Mountains in Oregon, to the more than 1 million people that were displaced for Three Gorges Dam in China about 50 years after Detroit Dam. The Atlas of Drowned Towns seeks to identify inundated communities and also to recover their histories so that we can better understand what was lost, more comprehensively appreciate the value of these places, and more humanely adjudicate community displacement under the various guises of progress. The Atlas, I think, has made great strides in this effort. The project's website now represents more than 250 displaced communities. We have more than 400 historical artifacts, and we provide more than a dozen interpretive narratives about the experience and meaning of displacement. And we have also hosted community archiving events, which we call history jamborees, where we invite displaced residents and their descendants to come and share their artifacts, share their oral histories, their memories, and their feelings about displacement. But this is a big job. There are so many inundated communities throughout the world, and displacement continues. Just last week in Ethiopia, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam came online, and it had displaced more than 20,000 people. I think we're doing a good job with the photos, the oral histories, the diaries, and the other material that we share on our website, but we have yet to plumb the depths, and excuse the reservoir metaphor, there are we have yet to fully plumb the depths of the experience of displacement. And there are many more people who should understand these experiences as they make decisions about displacement now and in the future. And so the work continues. My research team, me, a project manager, 3 really great graduate students, we are finding and researching drowned towns, not just in the American West, but throughout the world, to better understand and convey the experience of displacement and the meaning of displacement. I am really excited to develop some creative partnerships with scholars and organizations from different perspectives. For example, I'm especially excited to work with artists to create interpretive buoys that are chained to the sites of some of these historic towns that are lying underneath these reservoirs as a way of helping people understand the presence of these places. And also to connect with an international audience of decision makers, I'm hoping to cultivate relationships with the United Nations Environment Program to support the project and provide a global institutional home for this global project, so that when we see these reservoirs, we might better appreciate the deep meaning of what lies beneath. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. I'm Gail Shuck, Professor of Linguistics, Director of
English language support programs, and I'm keeping the mask on so I don't add COVID vector to my resume. I hope everyone can hear me okay. What would Boise State look like if we assumed our students were multilingual? When we embrace students' full language backgrounds, even within math or biology or economics courses, something shifts, not just for the students who know those languages, but for all of us. I ask you today to embrace that plurilingual vision and see how it can proliferate like so many rhizomes linked together to lay the ground for beauty in our classrooms, in our policies, and in our community. First, it's important to understand what's happening right now. Students who have learned English as a second or third or sixth language are sometimes met with surprise as though their instructors never planned for their presence. Many are belittled for their accents, marked way down for errors in the standardized grammar they didn't grow up with, and are often unwilling to speak up in class for fear of being found out. If a multilingual student is brave enough to ask for extra time on a test, since they often need it to sort through 2 or more languages in their brain, most faculty do grant them that time, thankfully, but most students don't even ask since they feel the burden is on them to catch up, even though they're the ones doing the difficult work of navigating multiple languages and sets of cultural norms. Shouldn't we all aim to be able to do that same work? Shouldn't the monolingual among us be the ones who need to catch up? Let me tell you about Marcel, a pseudonym. I asked his class to list all of the languages in our collective repertoire on the board. Students happily shouted out languages, while I waited for Marcel, whose Congolese family I knew, to say something beyond just French. When I teased him privately about why he didn't list his 4 other languages, he said he didn't want to sound stupid. Imagine his experience in school if he had not been surrounded by a focus on his deficits in English. Imagine his teachers seeing him for his promise and guiding him to opportunities to excel early on. If everyone understood the wide range of possible language and educational backgrounds of our students, Marcel might have felt like he belonged in college and might have been willing to get the support he needed without shame. If we assume students were multilingual from the start, faculty and students alike would develop more communicative agility because one of the university's key educational goals would be to communicate in a globally connected world. We would be curious about everyone's languages and other dimensions of who they are. And we might be less surprised to find out that 90% of the growth in college student enrollment across the United States in the last 25 years has been driven by immigrant origin students. These students start companies, run for office, become social workers, and win prestigious awards. They have a fierce determination to give back to the university and the community. So I invite you to see the richness and possibility of a multilingual campus and work together to help it flourish. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Karthik Srinivasan. I'm an assistant professor in the Electrical and Computer Engineering department. The last time we landed on the moon was in 1972. That was more than 50 years ago. Why haven't we gone further? Or even gone back? Or maybe to the Mars or beyond? when we already have the technology to do so? When I asked this question to my NASA collaborator, the answer was simple: fear. Fear of the unknown. At the heart of this fear is a lack of reliable information. You see, in extreme environments, whether it's outer space, the deep ocean, inside of a jet propulsion engine or a nuclear reactor, the very sensors that we use today fail. Because in high temperatures, radiation, corrosive gases, the materials our electronic devices are made up of corrode, degrade, and do not give us the results that we expect. When sensors fail, the missions fail. At Boise State, my team in the Applied Magnetics and Photonics lab is tackling this challenge head on. We build sensors that use light instead of electricity, and we build them on silicon carbide, a material that keeps its strength and, even better, keeps its optical properties even under the harshest conditions. Here's what makes them different: resilience. Our sensors survive some of the harshest conditions known to man. Multifunctionality. By integrating new materials, we can monitor heat, pressure, and radiation all at once in a single device. Scalability. These devices are tiny, they are built at the nanoscale, and they can be deployed widely, whether be it spacecrafts, nuclear reactors, or geothermal wells. The impact is enormous. Safer space missions, reliable energy from modular nuclear reactors and geothermal wells, and especially US leadership in a new frontier technology, that is silicon carbide photonics. But this pitch isn't only about sensors, it's about how we do research. My lab is only 2 years old at Boise State, yet we have already seen the power of collaboration, inclusion, and shared resources. We fabricate our devices in the Idaho Microfabrication Lab. We characterize them using tools in the Boise State Center for Materials Characterization. We collaborate across departments, and our team is made up of students from diverse backgrounds. First generation, Idaho natives, international, all united by curiosity and drive. So the question is, what can leaders at Boise State do to foster this climate? They can champion collaboration as a core value and design policies that reward collaboration as much as individual achievement. They can invest boldly in our shared resources and modernize our aging equipment, so every lab has access to world-class tools. And especially in today's funding landscape, we need to move beyond a few research silos and pool our resources for shared success. These steps will ensure that every lab has access to state-of-the-art tools and positions Boise State for 21st century research. That's how, when humanity goes back to Moon or chooses to explore Mars or beyond, or even go to some of the harshest conditions known to us on our planet or elsewhere, Boise State will help lead the way. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anna Maria Zavala. I am in the Mechanical and Biomedical Engineering Department, and I am an assistant research professor. And you may not have heard the title assistant research professor before. After all, there's fewer than 10 of us on campus. We do, our work, including our salaries, are almost entirely funded by grants that we bring in ourselves. With little to no backing from the university, grant reviewers often flag the lack of support, which makes it even harder to secure the funding we need to pursue our cutting-edge research into nanomaterials, neurobiology, and cancer research. My research focuses on reducing debilitating side effects and improving quality of life for cancer survivors. Imagine your relief when your oncologist tells you you've beaten cancer, only to realize that for many survivors, the fight doesn't end there. 2 out of 3 survivors face significant skeletal wasting, leaving bones fragile and prone to osteoporosis. Bone is a living organ. It's rebuilt every 10 years in a process called remodeling. Remodeling requires 2 types of cells:
osteoblasts that build bone and osteoclasts that chomp away or eat away at bone. On the left, you can see healthy bone, and there's a complex dance where the osteoclasts eat it away, the osteoblasts redeposit, and you are left with healthy bone. However, when you're exposed to chemotherapy and breast cancer, you end up with osteoporotic bone, also age. But with chemotherapy, the osteoblasts become senescent zombie cells. And these zombie cells actually don't deposit bone, but they also release signals that create other zombie cells that also will not release bone. On the other hand, breast cancer actually upregulates osteoclast activity. So breast cancer means that you're eating away your bone. Chemotherapy treatment to kill the breast cancer means that you're not depositing bone and you end up with bone wasting. At the same time, these weakened bones also create hiding places where cancer cells can lie dormant for decades before growing into bone tumors. Our lab is developing a non-pharmaceutical therapy called low-intensity vibration. Think of the vibration that you feel on your phone. That's the forces that we're working with. But inside your body, it might prevent chemotherapy-induced bone stem cell zombification and keep bones healthy. We've shown that LIV not only maintains bone deposition, but can improve mineralization even beyond normal levels. It also slows breast cancer-driven bone breakdown, reducing the signals that help tumors grow and spread. Our ultimate goal is to bring this therapy to the clinic to improve survivors' quality of life, lower the financial burden of cancer, ease stress on caregivers across all cancer types, giving the 18 million cancer survivors in the US a stronger, healthier future. This work is especially critical in breast cancer since women's health remains under-researched and underfunded. I hope you agree that my research and that of other research professors on campus has the potential to drive innovation at Boise State. To make that possible, we need to be fully integrated into the fabric of the university. With the right support, including funding, lab space, and opportunities to recruit graduate students in those critical first years, we can build strong, sustainable research programs. Visible institutional backing will also strengthen our grant applications and increase our competitiveness. I'd love to start a conversation on how we can work together to remove barriers and create the conditions that allow research professors to thrive, advancing innovation in Idaho and beyond.
Thank you. My name is Leslie Atkins, and I'm one of the co-directors of ASSERT. I was one of the early members of ASSERT about 8 years ago with Donna and Will, as mentioned earlier. I'm often, when I run into someone in Boise and they find out I teach at Boise State, they'll ask me if I know about some other professor on campus. And I often tell them I am more likely to know someone in physics education research across the country than I am to know someone who's one floor away from me doing research. And I have found ASSERT to be one of the most powerful ways that I've been able to connect and understand the research that's happening at Boise State. It feels such a sense of pride and humility to know that these are my colleagues and the work that we're all doing together. It's been a really powerful experience for me, both as a member of ASSERT and now the honor of co-leading it. We have time now. I'm going to ask the ASSERT fellows to come up here in just a second.